What do you do when the country you bled for hands you a letter that says, "We no longer require your services"? No phone call was put across, no visit or apology, just a cold letter to a man lying in a hospital bed, in pain, in a foreign country, alone. Most men would quit, but this man is an Igbo man from Onitsha. This son of Omambala, this Igbo boy who grew up watching his father box and play football, he looked that letter dead in the eye and said, "In 4 years, I will stand on an Olympic podium, with or without Nigeria." And he did it. His name is Francis Obikwelu, born on the 22nd of November 1978 in Onitsha, Anambra State, the commercial heartbeat of Nigeria and Igbo land. His father, Victor Obikwelu, was a footballer and a boxer. So greatness, it was already in the blood. At just 14 years old, a football coach spotted something electric in his body and told him to try athletics. 2 years later, Francis was competing at the 1994 African Junior Championships. By 1996, at just 17 years old, he was world junior champion, winning gold in both the 100 meters and 200 meters. Let that sink. A teenager from Onitsha in Igbo land became world champion. He moved to Lisbon, Portugal at 16, joining the club Sporting CP, where he carried the green and white jersey of Nigeria with pride on the world stage. At the 1999 World Championships in Sevilla, he won bronze in the 200 meters and stood on the podium for Nigeria. Francis Obikwelu was not just talented, he was a force of nature. Then came Sydney 2000, the Olympic Games. Francis was there, representing Nigeria, the country he loved. And then, disaster. He tore his knee badly. A doctor looked at his MRI scan and told him something no athlete ever wants to hear. You cannot run anymore. But even in that dark moment, Francis Obikwelu made a promise. He said, "In 4 years, I will come back and step on the Olympic podium." He needed surgery urgently. And Nigeria, the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, the body he had won for, bled for, represented from a teenage age, sent him a letter, not a check, not support, not even a phone call, just a letter. "We no longer require your services." With no financial help from the Federation, Francis had to fund his own surgery, traveling all the way to Canada to operate on his knee. And it got worse. He suffered a thrombosis, a blood clot, and on the operating table, he was hospitalized for months. He nearly died. But an Igbo man does not lie down. Onyekwelu, Chiekwelu. Francis has agreed. Therefore, his Chi has agreed with him. In October 2001, Francis Obikwelu became a Portuguese citizen. His club, Sporting CP, had supported him through surgery when Nigeria would not. Portugal had embraced the boy Onitsha had gifted the world. And the people of Portugal, they gave him a name. They called him Chico, not Francis, not the Nigerian, not the foreigner, Chico, their own. He began competing for Portugal in 2002 and immediately announced himself winning gold in the 100 meters at the European Championships in Munich. He was back, faster, hungrier, unbroken, and now he had a date with destiny. Athens, Greece, August 2004, the Olympic Games arrived. 8 men, 1 track, 1 dream. The 2004 Olympic 100 meters final would go down in history as one of the fastest, most dramatic sprint finals ever run. Record. He won silver at the Olympic Games, and Portugal went absolutely wild. It was the first ever Olympic medal in sprinting events for Portugal. Not bronze, silver on the podium. Wearing the colors of Portugal stood a proud son of Igbo land from Onitsha in Anambra State, Nigeria, an Igbo boy. The story of Francis Obikwelu is not just about running. It is about what happens when a system fails a man of greatness and greatness refuses to fail. Maka na onye kwelu, chi ya ekwelu. He went on to win gold in both the 100 meters and 200 meters at the 2006 European Championships, becoming the first man to achieve that sprint double since 1978. He was named European Male Athlete of the Year in 2006. The European record of 9.86 seconds stood for nearly 17 years. Most times, Francis Obikwelu, that Igbo boy, is seen training one of the greatest athletes to ever live, none other than Cristiano Ronaldo, because greatness recognizes greatness.
A lot of people was not happy for me to switch to Portugal. I myself, practically, I wasn't happy because I will use this opportunity to lay down to here today. I remember Sydney Olympics. I was ranked number 2 in the world in the 200 meters. I was in top shape. Unfortunately, I had a knee problem. I have a meniscus problem. I told my federation that I'm having a problem with my knee. I said I have that I'm lying. I went on, used my knee. I ran up to semi-final. I couldn't run anymore. My knee was bad. Then they took me to hospital. I did an MRI, and the doctor said, "I don't think you're gonna continue running anymore in your life. Your knee is bad. Your knee is totally destroyed." You know, I was crying. I went to federation. The only thing they told me that they don't need me. They can produce another Obikwelu because Nigeria have a lot of talented athletes. I said, "That's what you can say." I said, "Okay, can't you help me a little bit, support me for my surgery?" They say, "Yeah, we're gonna approve your money and you're gonna go for surgery." I personally went to Canada. I had my surgery. I recovered. Barely that after the surgery, I have to stay in hospital for another 3 months because I had a blood clot, almost died. You know, so thank God that I was alive. Nobody called me. It's just my parents and everybody. Thank God I was alive. I came back to Nigeria with clutches. The money was approved, but they can tell me that they don't know where the money was. You know, I was surprised, and I said, "Okay, thank you very much for everything." I went back to Portugal, and I said, "Okay, I'm done." You know, with honor, because I love my country. This is where I came from. I've been doing this since I was a kid. You know, representing Nigeria, running, and it's not good. You know, I think what Nigeria should be doing. It's not about because they have so many athletes. I think the one that is doing well, even if they're injury, they have to support them. It's about respect. It's not it's not about money. It's not about money. It's about respect. It's about telling them things can be better. You know, today in Portugal, they support me. Even if I'm running bad, if I have knee problem, they still, you know, come over there and talk to me. What do you need help? This is what athletes need, because sometimes when you go for competition, if you're not relaxed as a sprinter, you can do nothing, even if you're in top shape.
He has since founded the Francis Obikwelu Foundation, supporting young athletes and giving back to communities. And every Christmas, he goes home to Nigeria, to Igbo land, to his people, because you can change a passport, but you can never change your Igbo blood. This is what Igbo excellence looks like. Not loud, not begging, not waiting for permission, He looks like a boy from Onitsha market streets who became a junior world champion at 17, who survived betrayal, surgery, and a blood cloth, who stood on an Olympic podium and made an entire nation weep with joy, wearing the wrong flag. His name is Francis Obikwelu. And Nigeria, whether she admits it or not, Nigeria made him to look the other way. Igbo bu gobe n'oji. Every Igbo person is an eagle that has comfortably perched on the Iroko. If you enjoyed watching this beautiful documentary about the greatness of an Igbo son on track and field, kindly hit the subscribe button. Do well to drop your comment in the comment section, and I will see you in my subsequent videos. Bye!
In